right, everybody, come on in. Come on in. I hope and pray that my audio is good today. If you all saw the last one, I was struggle streaming, but we are going to get right into it. We're doing something new tonight, and if you all like it, let me know. Maybe we'll start a new series called Ask Maggie, or when Lucy is with me, we can do an Ask Maggie Lou. So for anyone who doesn't know me, hi, I am Maggie, your substitute teacher. You may know me for my cooking channel. I make food and femininity content. And I received a lovely message from someone who has asked to remain anonymous. And so, of course, I am going to respect her wishes. And from here on out, we will refer to her as my subscriber. I am going to read what she wrote me, and I am going to answer her question in 3 parts. And so I'm going to take my time tonight because this is a heavy topic, a serious one, and I'm sure a lot of people are curious about this, and I pray that it can be helpful for many of you. Okay, so it reads, "Hi, Maggie. Hello, my dear." She says, "I love listening to your live streams." Thank you, sweetheart. And if you all see me looking to the side, I have my phone here. Armando says, not a 4th part. No, just 3 parts tonight. So my subscriber says, "I would like to know if you can talk about navigating your current relationship with a man. However, you are a single mom. What are the do's and don'ts in that relationship? How do you make sure that your man doesn't feel less valued in the relationship?" Hello, Compliment King. Thank you for being here. Okay, so we are going to get into this. And I have been thinking long and hard about this one. And actually, me and our subscriber have been messaging back and forth because I had some follow-up questions. And I am going to get to my answers as it relates to her in part 3. So part 1, I am actually going to start by complimenting you, my dear subscriber. You know who you are. Because the fact that you reached out to ask for help is a huge step forward. I've been doing a lot of thinking, ladies, and I have landed on an answer that has been plaguing me. Why is it so difficult? Why is it so hard? Why are we making relationships so difficult? And I have an answer for you, ladies. You probably either won't want to hear it or won't believe it. But I think the men will say, "We've been saying it." We have an ego. Our pride gets in the way. Whatever you want to call it, stubbornness, can't tell us anything, difficult. If we do not humble ourselves and realize we don't know everything and we are not going to know everything, we are doomed to be alone. So to you, my dear subscriber, you reached out and asked. And if you all know me, I'll tell you a little bit about my story. That's actually in part 2. We're still in part 1. It's 3 parts tonight. I wanted to compliment her for reaching out and asking for help. Hello, Bert. How's everybody doing? Okay. So my subscriber wants to know how to navigate her relationship. So of course I had some follow-up questions, but I want to stick in the structure in my mind so I'm not all over the place. Why is it important that we ask for help? Like I said, I believe the older women should teach the young. I'll be 50 next year. And I believe we do that by saying what we have done right as well as what we have done wrong. I have no problem falling on my sword daily and saying, I don't know everything. And I really do hope and pray that our young people will do better. When I say young, one of my follow-up questions to our subscriber was, how old is she? She is 25 and she has a daughter. Her daughter is 8 years old. You can do the math. I had several follow-up questions. So for a 25-year-old to be prioritizing relationship, again, my dear subscriber, I want to compliment you. So many young women are giving their best years to everything but the relationship that they actually want. And what young women are not realizing is when you are young and inexperienced is when you have your most leverage in a traditional relationship with a man, if that's what you want. You all know my disclaimer. If you believe in something otherwise, you're not going to be happy here. I was married at 25. It is not too young. Ladies, hear me. It is not too young. Do not listen to older single women telling you to wait. Don't rush it. You have all the time in the world. You don't. Not with the caliber of man that you want. Another follow-up question, just so you all know, she is in a relationship and the man that is vetting her, I believe he's 35. I may have to check, but there's about a 10-year difference. That is a good thing. I will circle back to why later in part 2. So I wanted to compliment her for asking, and I wanted to compliment her for asking young. And then the final compliment is for learning from a very painful lesson. And I am going to say this, I am not sugarcoating anything. My dear subscriber, you are doing this the hard way. And you all will hear me say that over and over. Is it impossible? No. But dating when you have children is incredibly difficult. And it requires those of us who want relationship and we are bringing attachments with us to overperform. This package deal, this you got to take me and my kids does not fly in relationship with the caliber of man that you want. Speaking of caliber of man, my man, the love of my life, I actually talked to him about answering these questions. So not only will you be getting my perspective, you will be getting the man that I submit to his perspective because I asked, because to me, it is that serious. So again, when I make a point, you will hear me say, you are doing this the hard way. So again, circling back to the humility, ladies, we don't get everything we want just because we want it. If we are coming into relationship with any strikes against us, older, with children, in debt, whatever your past is, you are not at your prime. Because I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off and tell you all what mean old mister told me. Every day that man is thinking, you know what? It's probably easier with somebody who didn't have a kid. Again, doing it the hard way. Is it impossible? No. But we have to humble ourselves, ladies, and realize we are not at our prime for our own reasons. So we have to get over thinking we can expect what someone who is young and inexperienced can bargain for. We have lost our leverage. And I am including myself in that because in part 2, I will tell you all a little bit of my story. All right. So to my dear subscriber, thank you for asking. Thank you for prioritizing relationship at 25. And I am proud of you You told me what happened. It happened at 18, but you learned and you didn't do it again. Unfortunately, especially in our community, so many women say, well, you know what? Throw caution to the wind. Here's another kid. Here's another kid, multiple fathers. And you are basically putting the nails in your own coffin for the type of relationship that you will ultimately want when you get my age. All right. So thank you, Rodolfo, for telling me I'm old. I agree with you. Abe says you're the GOAT. Angry Fitness Guy says, hello, can you give me some advice about raising my daughter? Today I'm going to focus on my dear subscriber's question. And I want to take my time on this one because I've been thinking about it all day. But if you all like this type of segment, you can email me, Maggie the Substitute Teacher at gmail.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram too, with your questions, and maybe I'll dedicate a stream to answering that. Hello, Monkey. Thank you all so much for being here. And hello, Farron. All right, so let us continue. So that was part one. All right, part two. I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version of my story only as it relates to what our subscriber has asked. Because sometimes I hesitate in sharing too much, obviously for privacy reasons, but because my situation is unique and it's not most people, not all, not all, not all. But I do teach from my own lived experience, but I'm hearing my man say, don't try, what do they say on TV? Don't try this at home, kids. All right. When I was young, I grew up with a boy that head over heels for. We were the same age. That's important. And when I was young and inexperienced, I was ready because I was raised to be a wife. I told you all my story, immigrant family. Since I was 13, I was doing all the taking care of the home and everything. So it would not have been uncommon for me to marry in my early 20s, where I grew up. It's not uncommon that, you marry your high school sweetheart or something like that. But the boy that I liked, loved, if you will, told me he wasn't ready and he did not want that. He wanted to go live his life. So I was willing, he refused. That is important, ladies. A lot of women that I talked to had an opportunity where the man was willing and they refused in their prime years and lived to regret it to this day. So that's one nuance. I grew up with somebody, knew him from childhood, knew each other's families, all of that. I was willing, he refused. He wanted to live his life as he should. And you all have heard me say that. And now as a mother, I understand it more and more. Ladies, men need their time to figure it out. Whatever that figuring out is, as Kevin Samuel said, that 10 years of heads down, eating you know what, men have to go through their own crucible and come out the other side. And ladies, here's the hard part. They have to do that away from us. They have to fail and fall down and try again away from the eyes of their woman. Because I have learned you have to respect your man. If you want a traditional relationship, you have to respect him, meaning he requires respect. But in order for us to happily submit, we have to be able to look up to him and admire what he has done. That is why, ladies, It is very difficult. It is doable, but it is difficult when a woman is young to also marry a man who is young, unless that woman knows there's going to be some lean times, there's going to be some starting and stopping. And if she is dedicated to his vision and can ride it out, God bless it. But that is why oftentimes younger women are with older men, because that man has gone through what he needs to be able to command the respect in his home. So that is why I think it's a good thing that our dear subscriber is being vetted by a man in his mid 30s and she is 25. All right. So my heart was broken. I was refused, and I went off to college and met who would be my husband. I was 18. He was 7 years older than me. Again, ladies, there's a reason for the age gap. A lot of older women look down on that. I actually think it is beneficial for both, for various reasons. So I married. I had one college boyfriend. We were engaged the year after I graduated, or the year I graduated, and married the year after that. I was married at 25. Absolutely loved being married. Had 2 sons in the marriage. That's important, ladies. You have heard me say it, and you may get your feelings hurt, but from my man and from the perspective of men, they do look at married mothers very differently than unwed mothers. Get offended if you want to, but there is a value on a woman who requires marriage to bear children. I'll leave that right there. I was married for 10 years, 2 sons from the marriage. I have told you all over and over again, even though I had a very traditional upbringing with college and corporate America, I did get caught up in some of the modern woman mindset. Whatever you can do, I can do better. You get a promotion, I get a promotion. And unfortunately for me, the marriage ended in divorce. I was devastated and felt like a failure. And I learned whatever I have to do to never go through that again, I will do. Fast forward, life brought me back post-divorce to my first love. That's another nuance in my story. Ladies, it is very rare, extremely rare that you get a do-over. The reason I got a do-over is, like I told you, I was willing. He refused. I have asked my man, if you were ready and I refused, would I still be here? The answer was no. You can figure it out. So he knew me. Now he has gone through his own crucible, and I have a second chance with the first love. But I told you all, he sat me down on the second date, told me his plan, told me what he was going to do for me, but he said, you have to finish what you started. Meaning, the children that I now have post-divorce were mine and mine alone to sort out. All right. So now, wrapping up part 2 of our 3 parts, I wanted to give you all a little bit of that context, because I know we talk often about how hard it is for single mothers, and it is. Again, this is the hard way to do it. Would not recommend. Ladies, you have 1 chance to get the outcome that you want when you are young and inexperienced. Get mad if you want to. Am I saying you have to be a virgin? No, but I'm saying that racking up experiences, and experiences can be all the career stuff, all the travel stuff, all of the debt, all of the relationships, all of the things that you do living your life like it's golden will not help you in the relationship that you want. So again, I applaud our dear subscriber for wanting a relationship and realizing, okay, this is not where it's at. 25, she's ready. Okay. So he sat me down. He said, you have to finish what you start. So I'm going to answer her question to me. How do I navigate being in a relationship and prioritizing my man being a single mom? So you have a little bit of my backstory as to why I got here or how I got here. So once he told me, Swati, thank you so much for the $10. Oh my goodness. Hello, Farron. He says you look great, Meg. Thank you. Just a roller set wash day, you all know, but thank you. And I appreciate the $10. Let me see what you all are saying in the chat. And then I want to answer our subscribers' question. I'll tell you specifically what I do because that was her question to me. And so I'm going to answer for all of you. And part 3 will be my overall advice to our dear subscriber and any other young mothers. Again, it will not be easy. What I do is not easy, but if you humble yourself, it may be possible for you. All right. Angry fitness guy wants a woman to be equal in marriage. There you go, ladies. You got your 50-50 guy. Carrie says, am I married now? No, and I will tell you my story. Well, I kind of did. What is your plan? Okay, let's see. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Carrie. All right. All right. Let's just see if there's anything else. All right. Thank you all so much for all of the support. Thank you, Lois. All right. Thank you all so much for being here. Okay. Cake says, if I could have heard this when I was 17, I would have avoided so much mess I bumped into in my life. I know. That's why I'm here. I try. Okay. So my man told me you have to finish what you started. Understood. So that means, ladies, post-divorce, and I've told you all, my ex-husband and I co-parent really well. The first year was kind of rough. Let's face it. I don't know who these women are celebrating divorce, graduating from divorce, having divorce parties. I felt like the biggest failure. I felt like everybody was disappointed in me. I felt like maybe even God was mad with me. It was horrible. Would not recommend because I am a hard worker and I usually succeed at what I do, but I learned a very big lesson. And if we don't humble ourselves, ladies, life will humble us. Okay, so I'm divorced now. I have the kids and share custody with my ex-husband. So we had to put a plan in place. Obviously, when you get divorced, and I don't know because I haven't had children outside of marriage, but however you get to a point where there is structure around your co-parenting, my dear subscriber, that is yours to figure out. That's what I had to figure out. So who's dropping off? Who's picking up? What do weekends look like? Here's what mean old mister said. It needs to be a well-oiled machine before he gets there. Any loose ends, none of that needs to be an additional burden on him. So I had to make sure that I had, good communication with my ex-husband. I had to make sure that I had a good support system. Luckily, I'm in the Atlanta area. Grandparents, well, one set are here. So I had grandparents, if I was running late at work or whatever, I needed somebody to pick up. Sometimes I had to pay other moms or people to drive or just you have to figure it out. And again, we cannot pout. We cannot complain. We chose to do this the hard way. So that first year for me was difficult because I had to get all that stuff in order. But once I did, it was pretty much smooth sailing. Now, ladies, this again is why the man that you choose to give a legacy to is so important. Even though my marriage did not last after 10 years, my ex-husband is a wonderful father because I waited for a man who wanted marriage and who wanted children. When we just jump out and start doing whatever we want to do, whenever we want to do it, the burden is on us for life. That is not a burden that you want to carry, because right now the kids are small and they're cute. Believe me, now that the boys are teenagers, they live with their father. He came and got them, did not ask me, and they're the better for it. And I had to, again, humble myself and realize, supermom I may be, I cannot raise men. So we have to work all of that out. And I'm basically relaying to my man, this is the plan. The boys are going to be gone this weekend, here this weekend. This is my availability. I had to do all that. You have to smooth that out. Because again, remember what mean old mister said, that man is thinking every single day, this would be easier with someone who didn't have kids. So if you choose to do it the hard way, ladies, the burden is on you. Is it impossible? No, but this is why we tell you to wait. And if you are going to have children, number one, wait for marriage. You will have more respect from all men, society, and the potential man in your future if it doesn't last. But the man that marries you is planning for a family with you. So he is planning for future children. When you just pop up pregnant and that man was not expecting it, his investment, his mental, he may have to do a physical investment, fine, but his mental investment, his commitment to those children needs to be there before these children exist. I waited. I was married, but still waited for my husband to say, I think it's time. And then say again, I think it's time. And if he wanted a third, we would have had a third. Again, you're here because you asked me. Traditional background. If you want to do something different, that's totally fine. But choosing a man who wants to have a family in marriage is always the best route. Not only for you ladies, but these children need their father. There's another thing that my man told me today. Ladies, you may get a new man that will always be your children's father. And you need to respect him as such. I was messaging her earlier today, and she made a comment that was kind of like, oh yeah, I don't really talk to him much. I said, stop that right there. This is the father that you chose. So this little girl, you get too comfortable saying stuff like that, she's going to overhear you one day talking whatever you want to about her dad. You may have a new man, but that is the children's father, and make sure you speak honorably of him. If you have any issues with him, you take that to the grave. You will never hear me disparage my ex-husband. That is my children's father. So you want to build up those habits where you have that well-oiled machine and you speak honorably of him. If you picked poorly, that is your cross to bear. No one else, not your new man and not your kids. Again, you chose to do it the hard way. All right. So I'll wrap up section number 2, and then I'll go into section number 3. So section number 2 is about what I do. So you want to know some tips from me. How do I prioritize my man? Big part of it is having that schedule in place. Okay. Once you have that schedule in place, it helps everybody. We like the structure. One of the best pieces of unsolicited advice I got when we were expecting, because everybody tells you when you're pregnant what to do. I have an auntie who does an in-home daycare, and she told me, Maggie, as soon as you can, get the baby on a routine, not a schedule, doesn't have to be to the minute, but a routine so they know what to expect. And I was like, okay. So once they started sleeping through the night, we started doing our routine. So after dinner, we would do bath time, we would sing songs or read a book, and then bedtime. And the kids got to know, okay, this is the routine. This is what happens next. Why is that important? Not only for the children, but that way, if mom and dad want a date night, you can tell the sitter, this is their evening routine. If you're taking the kids to grandma's, this is their routine. It makes it easier for everyone involved. So now fast forward, if for whatever reason you're on the dating market and you have children, you have to be able to communicate to your new man, this is our established routine. The kids are on board. Their father is on board. Everybody knows what's going on. So If you remarry or you marry, you may have the rules of the house, and that needs to be established. Your husband and you, this is the rules of the house for anybody over here. And then you have to separately manage a routine with your child and the man that you chose to have a family with over here. So you are going to have to do double duty. I have to do double duty. Head is on a swivel. Is it hard? Yes. Is it fair? Like my man will tell you, a fair is a place where they judge pigs. This is not about fair. All right. You want to date with children? This is what is required. All right. Lily says, I agree with waiting until your partner is on board with having a kid. Oh, Assumption says, is she using logic and reasoning? This is a question that I was asked, so I'm hoping this is helpful. And ETS says, this is why I never date a single mom. And ladies, there are men that have said, you know what? It's too much. And remember, my dear subscriber, your man is thinking, it's probably easier with someone who didn't have kids. So the good thing is he has seen something in you that he believes is worth vetting. So you're on the right track. And you shared with me that you've been together 10 months and he's asked you to look at rings. So this is as close as you are going to get to changing the rest of your life forever. So this is where you roll up your sleeves and you get to work and you make sure he never is burdened with your situation. All right. What else do I do? So I have a routine. I communicate that routine and I give my best to my man. What does that mean? If I have a long day at work, suck it up. He doesn't need to hear about that. If the kids are acting crazy, suck it up, work it out with their dad. He doesn't need to hear about that. If he comes over, I make sure that I cook his food. Even when the kids are here, I'll serve him first. If we're doing a movie night or whatever, I make sure that I'm showered, dressed and ready, make sure that I'm pleasant. Even if that means, I'm tired, I don't let it show, because the man that you want should receive your best effort. Because especially if you are wanting marriage and you did not require it before, again, humble yourself and get on board like your hair is on fire. Learn his ways, study him, anticipate his needs, make sure you are useful, unproblematic, all of those things while managing this thing over here. Again, you did it the hard way, but that is why that routine, that well-oiled machine has to be in place. All right. What else do I do? Let me just read your question one more time, and then we're going to go into the general advice. All right. So my dear subscriber wrote me and said, how do you navigate relationship with your man? You are a single mom. What are the do's and don'ts? So do have a routine. Don't bring any stress to your man from your previous relationship. How do you make sure that your man doesn't feel less valued in the relationship? Oh, I'm smiling, almost laughing, because when you have the caliber of man that is just unapologetically masculine, he really doesn't have to say much. I learned quickly how to read the room. So ladies, being aware of how your man responds is going to be critical to your success. I've told you all, my man said, I'm going to tell you one time in a row and let you figure it out. And he'll say it just like that. So ladies, if you want to act like you don't know what's going on, if you expect somebody to go 12 rounds with you, if you expect him to stop what he's doing and worry about your feelings, you'll find yourself alone. So the cheat code for me, and ladies, it's really not that difficult. If he tells me that he likes something, if he compliments me on something, if he lights up when I do anything, make his favorite food, or give him peace when he's working on a document or whatever, I do more of that. But I have to make sure that my stuff is settled so I can be aware and watch and study. If I want to stick around, I give him more of what he likes. And if he gives me any feedback at all, if he doesn't like something, if he says no, or he doesn't respond well, I can kind of tell his body language, he's a little frustrated about something, immediately cut it off. Not worth it. This is not the hill I'm trying to die on. I don't have to go there, wear that, talk to that friend, anything. Nothing. Now, again, depending on the ages of the children, obviously when the kids were little and they needed more hands-on, we're not talking about anybody who's unreasonable, but you all know what I mean. All right. So if he likes something, do more of it. If he doesn't like something, eliminate it. That's really the cheat code. But again, humbling yourself and realizing you don't know everything. You're not going to know everything, and that's okay. All right. So that was the end of part 2. Let me see what you all are saying in the chat. We're going to do 3 parts tonight. Part 1 was basically me encouraging and congratulating our subscriber for reaching out and saying, help, I got a man who's older vetting me and this could change my life. Please, I don't want to mess it up. I think humility is beautiful. Number 2, you asked specifically what I do. So I'll check the chat we're on. Let me know if this is helpful. So those are some of the things that I do. And once you get a system in place, ladies, you just refer back to the system. But that is why it's so important to choose wisely. You got to have a man that you can work with, even if the marriage doesn't last. If he's committed, you can make the co-parenting work. All right. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat. Some of y'all are cutting up, and then we're going to get to part 3. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Oh, you're welcome, my dear. All right. So let me just see what you all are saying in the chat, and then we're going to get to part 3. My part 3 is going to be overall advice and more specifics from mean old Mr. My man. But hopefully you all are kind of seeing the red thread here. Okay. Yes, Lily says you will be family regardless whether y'all like each other or not. That's true. Even though my marriage ended in divorce, we are forever family. The boys have paternal uncle, Mimi has since passed on, grandmother, grandfather. Like once you have a child, this is why, ladies, it's so important. I hear women and I see women just kind of selfishly like, I want a kid, I'm ready. I think that is one of the worst things to do. It's not about you once you have children. It's about the children that you've created, okay? So be careful just moving how you want to move, because believe me, whether it's a little girl and she becomes a teenager and starts giving you attitude, or it's a little boy who turns into a teenager and wants to punch holes in the wall until his dad comes over and snatches him up, you are going to need that family support. You are going to need that support system. There is a reason why we marry and have community. It's not just because it's legally binding or it's before God. All of that is wonderful, believe me. But ladies, there's a reason why you need people in your village. You can do it your way too. All right. Let's see what else y'all are saying. Then we're going to move to part 3. Thank you all so much. All right. Let me just see if there's anything else. While I'm scrolling through the chat, I did tell our subscriber I do have a course coming up. Of course, I do coaching. You can go to teachablemomentswithmaggie.com for all of the details. And I am going to put the code there. Lucy and I are teaching our wife archetypes class. If you want wife lessons, we're starting Saturday, November 2nd. You can use the code WIFE for $50 off. We're going to go over what is marriage, what is a husband, what is a wife, what are the roles, what are the responsibilities. Ladies, what kind of wife does a man need at different phases of his life? If your mother did not teach you how to be a good woman to a good man, I would highly, highly suggest that you sign up for the Wife Archetypes class. We'll send you your workbooks. You have lifetime access plus some bonuses. Okay. Oh, yeah, Aaron says God hates divorce. Yeah, I'm telling you, look, I understand life happens. I don't know what these women are doing, but I did not celebrate it. It is probably one of the biggest failures of my life. And I have a lot of accomplishments, but nothing tops being a wife and mother. It's that important. So That's why I'm so proud of our subscriber at 25 for saying, this is what I want. All right. So now let's move on to part 3. Part 3 is going to be general advice and what I learned from my man. It was rough, y'all. Okay. So ladies, without stating the obvious, don't do this. It's not okay to say young and dumb. It's not okay to say things happen. Men are always going to throw it up in our face like I got it today. There's how many forms of birth control? Even all the way up to the one that we don't talk about. This is going to be the harder way to do it. And it's going to be the harder way for life. You already heard me say balance. You're going to have to spin both worlds, head on a swivel. All right. I asked so many questions about the timing. This is great for our subscriber because she's 25. My man suggested 2 age ranges that could be beneficial if you want to try again. Again, our best leverage is when we are young and inexperienced. Barring that, he said, take somebody. I'll use myself as an example. Y'all know the boys are junior in high school and senior in high school. So he says, when the kids are older, if you want to remarry then, because, in a couple of years, everybody's going to be up and out anyway. It'll be happy right after the marriage. And then once the kids are kind of like moving towards their next step, they're not going to be, home in the mix of everything as much. That's an option. That's why a lot of times, women stay, men stay until the kids are up and out. He told me, you got to finish what you start. He did not want a blended family. And I had to respect that, ladies. Again, coming back into I can't even call it dating market. I didn't date, reconnected with my childhood first love. But when the kids are up and out, then we will have our time. That's what he told me. And I had to respect that. You either accept with grace or you exit with grace. But ladies, you're not going to argue with a man. You're not going to challenge a man. You're not going to threaten him. You're not going to give him ultimatum. That's not the man that you want. Because a man that will bend his knee and say, okay, fine, I'll marry you. Is that really the man that you look up to and admire? I don't think it is. Let's see what else. So we talked about that when the kids are a little bit older. He also said when the kids are very young. And I don't talk about celebrities. I'm only going to bring up Sierra in the terms of she had a child out of wedlock, realized immediately this is not what I wanted. And as quickly as possible, she got into a relationship that became a marriage. Now, whether you like her or not, this is not about that. But I'm just saying, look at the timing of events. She had one child and then quickly got on her husband's program. Whether you believe it or not, he said, this is how I want to run things. We're going to do this for a year and then we'll get married. And from what I can tell, and I don't know everything, she got on the program. Now, since then, that's another thing. But ladies, what you want to avoid is doubling down and repeating this mistake and having more kids with more men. Because remember, you're having to balance 2 different households already. That's a lot. The other thing my man said is, you better be ready to have his child immediately, as soon as you get married. So ladies, unless you already have children and he already has children, none of this business of bringing your kids to a man who doesn't have his own legacy, and then any funny business about not having kids, you need to go. I asked our dear subscriber, do you want more children? She said yes. And I asked her, does her man, we'll say future hubby, does he want children? And she said yes. That's a good thing, ladies. So back in the past, when a woman, whether she was widowed or whatever it was, if she found a man to care for her and her child that belonged to another man, you could have told her she won the lottery. Why is that, ladies? I know you think your kid is yours. I have friends, former friends, who are like, that's your baby, that's your kid. Honestly, it's not. That child that you are bringing reminds your new man every day that there was someone before him, that somebody had access to you before him, that somebody got their legacy started before him. All right. Hello, Nakota. Thank you. I'll answer your question in a moment. Someone started his legacy before him. So your child is a daily reminder of that. When your child gets straight A's in school, that helps your child's father's legacy. When your child graduates and is there to celebrate, that benefits your child's father. If your kid, or when your kid gets married and has grandchildren for you, those are grandchildren for your child's father. So you see, it's not just that extra mouth to feed. Ladies, men think in lineage and men think in forever. So everything that that other child is going to do is not going to benefit him. This is why, ladies, you have to overperform. This is why a lot of men say no to single moms. This is why my man said, finish what you start. Then when the kids are gone, we will have our time. And there's no debating that. Because remember, in their mind, you know what, this would be easier with someone who didn't have a kid. So if you want to keep that man, Johnny on the spot. All right. What else did he tell me? So get on the program, no pouting, no complaining. Our dear subscriber told me that in this 10-month relationship, her man took her ring shopping, let her decide what kind of ring she liked. That was several months ago and hasn't said anything else about it. She was starting to feel a little sad. I said, you better wipe those tears. Do not complain. This is a test. This may be a test of the emergency broadcast system, and that emergency broadcast is your life. You have a man who is willingly accepting you and your child. He knows what he's walking into. He has said, okay, fine, she has a child. I will still consider marrying her. Nothing to complain about. You wait as long as you need to wait. Because what you're going to understand, dear subscriber, you're 25 now. You don't want to do this when you're 35. You will not be able to do this when you're 45. And the other thing, ladies, husbands don't come around very often. That's the other aha that I've realized talking to women, is that you all like fun boys. I'm just going to say it. You're attracted to fun boys. And unfortunately, when you have your fun boy experience, then you think all men are like that. And the husbands are like, that has nothing to do with me. So I am so glad, again, our dear subscriber is with a man who is marriage minded. That was one of the first questions I asked her. So if he is marriage minded, if he is vetting you, if he has asked you to look at rings and it has been 10 months, zip it. Every training you can do, study him, anticipate his needs, get your routine in order over there. Not a peep out of you. This is a test. He is looking to see if you are humble and will wait patiently and follow his lead, or are you going to pout? Because again, ladies, men don't look at just how we behave right now. They're like, oh, okay. If I don't give her what she wants immediately, I'm going to get attitude. Okay. I see where this is going. And that's why a lot of women get the slow ghost. That's why a lot of women get ghosted immediately. For my man, yes, sir. Whatever it is, not a problem over here. He may have 99 problems, but Maggie is not going to be one of them. All right. Believe me, you're 25. You've got time. I think I've been at this around maybe like 13 years. So you've got time. All right. Let me see. I think, Dakota, go ahead and ask your question before I forget. Oh, Derek says Maggie gives out concrete words and advice. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let me just check the chat with our dear subscriber. Okay, she says all of this is helpful and perfect. So Dakota, go ahead. I will take a look at your question because we're going to wrap up. So I gave you all our part one. Congratulations to a young woman who is prioritizing marriage, learning from her lessons, not repeating them, and asking an older woman for help. And I know there's a lot of confusing messaging out there, ladies. And I'm not saying you got to be here with me or take my courses or anything. I want you to get the message. I really do want you to win. I think I care more than I should sometimes. Because my man told me, he's like, babe, everybody's not going to get A's. You just got to let it go. But I don't have daughters. We only have sons. And so my heart goes out to you young women who really want to make this work. It's going to be hard. You're doing it the hard way, but it can be done. Let's see. Dakota says, I did it the hard way and I always organize dates. Now we are in year 7 and the effort and validation is gone on my end. How do I let him know I want to go on a date? Okay, so if I understand this correctly, you used to plan date nights. And you said you did it the hard way. You're not going to like this answer for 2 reasons. All right. So if I understand, when you say you did this the hard way, so you had children out of wedlock and now you have a new man. Is your new man your husband, or are you all just like in a long term? See, there's so many questions. I was peppering our dear subscriber with like, how old are you? How old is the kid? How old is he? I'll give the general advice, and then if you want to give any clarity, I'll see if I can answer it. Vaughn C says someone needs to teach them. Nakota says, oh, same man. So you had children before with a man, and you're not married, and you've been together 7 years, and now you want to go on dates with him, and you've been planning them, and now you're tired of planning them. Ladies, like I tell you, everything can't be fixed. You're 10 years apart and the kids are his. Well, okay. You can ask. But there's a reason why things are done in order, ladies. It's not just for old people like me to say, get married first. Of course, yes, get married first. But like my ex-husband told me, you were driving this bus. All right. I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to go out and then come in. When I coach women, I tell them, do not plan or lead in the dating process for a couple of reasons. Number one, we're going to have to finish the way that we start. And you want to know if the man, who he is, as he is the man for you. If you're leading him by his nostrils, I want to go to this restaurant. I talked to one woman that if she wanted to go to a restaurant, she would just take pictures of where she wanted to go and send them to the man. How many restaurants do you think she got taken to? So I think it's important for a man to lead, because then you get to really see, is he the type of person that likes to go out on a weekly date, or is he more of a homebody? Then you can accurately decide, can I live with this? But ladies, when we jump out in front and we force them to do it our way, I want to celebrate like this, I want to go on this type of vacation. I think if we humble ourselves and slow down, watch and learn, this is how he does it for the day-to-day, for the routine. Then, of course, special occasions, this is what I did. In my relationship, I asked my man, I said 4 times a year. I said, I'll cook for you every day, but 4 times a year, I don't want to cook. On my birthday, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, and Christmas or something like that. So we negotiate these things, but I know what he wants. He wants home cooked meals. Like he likes that. And so I had to know what I was getting into. When you get out in front and you start doing what you want, then you wear out like we women do because we're not used to the long haul. And now you're like, I want to go on dates. How can I tell him I want to go on dates? Do you even know if he wants to go on dates? You kind of have this makeshift family now. You've had kids. For whatever reason, you didn't wait for marriage. So now you're realizing why it's hard, ladies. Don't do it this way. What would have been better? The reason you wait. Men treat their wives differently. They just do, ladies. And I know it's hard to hear. But when a man sees his woman really like working hard, taking care of everything, he comes to you and says, you know what, babe, I've got it. Go treat yourself, or let me take you out. I get this all the time. No, babe, you cook all the time. Let me do this for you. It's so much better when we allow them to lead, ladies. You've got to stop forcing things. When we allow them to lead, it just feels so much better when it comes from them genuinely. So that's why I would have advised you, don't plan any more dates in the beginning. No. And then wait and see if this is something you could live with. Because now, fast forward 7 years, you're tired, but you're here. And you gave him, I don't know how many children. And I don't know if these children were planned or a surprise. And if they were unplanned, have you asked yourself if every day he's wondering, how did this happen? But you're focused on the dates. All right. The International Quiet Storm says, wait, what? All right, y'all, let me see if there's anything else. And let me check my dear subscriber. And let me know what you all, so dear subscriber, if you're on, you got 2 more minutes. If you have any other questions, hopefully I answered for me specifically and for you genuinely. So for those of you all who are just hopping on, I did an Ask Maggie segment today. This is a new one. If you like it and you all want me to do more of these, then you can send me your questions so you can remain anonymous. And I will try to answer them for you. I know I missed some of the chats. Some of y'all are in here wilding out. My says, true, I hate it when women want to lead. It takes away from the surprise factor. See there? See, Nakota, here's an example. You want your standard weekly dates. And sometimes men, just to shut us up, I'm going to be honest, just to shut us up, sometimes they're like, fine, okay. And you never know if they were planning that surprise. But we're so stuck on what we want. You can't tell us anything. So ladies, I always tell the ladies that I talk to, do less, be more, let him lead. Okay. If you want to go out with your girls, take yourself. I do a lot of stuff by myself. I'm not going to put that burden on my man. But when he sees me stressed or whatever, he'll be like, babe, no, let me handle this. I'm going to pick up something. You're always doing this. You're always cooking. And it feels better when you have been seen and rewarded for your efforts, but you got to earn it. And I'm sorry, you did it the hard way. All right. So our dear subscriber says she understands perfectly. All right, everybody. So if I missed your comment, I am sorry, but thank you, Swavdi. Thank you, Nakota, for the support. Thank you, our dear subscriber. Keep me posted. Let me give you all the announcements, and then again, we will close out. So the wife lessons are coming up very soon, November 2nd. So that's going to be a Saturday school. It's 4 weeks of teaching with me and Lucy. We are going to teach what is marriage? Why is it important? We're going to teach what is a husband? What are his responsibilities? Like I said, most women don't know how to pick husbands. They like the fun boys. Fight me if you want to, but ladies, you are not picking husbands, okay? What is a husband? What do you need to look for? How does a husband move? So many women don't know how to identify it. They just like how that man looks. But is he rotten on the inside? You don't know. You don't care. We're going to talk about what it is to be a wife. I love that our dear subscriber, so young, is allowing herself to be vetted for marriage. That speaks volumes, ladies, when you give your youth and inexperience to your husband. Even though my marriage did not last, my ex-husband respects me to this day, will correct the boys in front of me. Don't do that to your mom. No. and we are not married. But husbands treat their wives differently, even after marriage. All right. So that's wife lessons coming up in November. In December, I'm having a dining masterclass. If you're in Atlanta or want to come to Atlanta, I'm having a 4-hour dining masterclass in partnership with Neiman Marcus. I teach, you eat. Ladies, if you don't have good table manners, all right, and you want to impress or you want to be in certain circles, you can use code Maggie for $50 off. It's going to be 5 courses. I'm going to walk through everything with you, show you how to do champagne, hors d'oeuvres, your starter, your main, dessert, coffee, tea, everything in the private dining room. You get to pick whatever you want off the menu. And I'm going to teach you how to have proper table manners, networking, small talk, all of that stuff. All right. And gentlemen, for the wife lessons and the dining masterclass, you can gift this to your lady. So if she needs training and relationship skills, if she needs table manners skills, you can go to the same website and there's a box where you can say send as gift. All right. And then, of course, the cruise is coming up. We're having our last Q&A on Sunday. It's not too late. We're having a Maggie meetup cruise from Miami, and we're going to the Bahamas. It's my birthday month next month, so it's our second annual meetup cruise. You can meet and greet with me or not, but we're going to have a great time. All right, everybody? Vaughn is loving it. Look how Derek says, stop rushing us men and just take a blank ride with your man. No destination. Let the organic moments develop. I love it. I love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And thank you, my dear subscriber, for reaching out. I'm very proud of you. It's the hard way, but you can do this. All right. The holidays are coming up, so you never know. All right. So if you all enjoyed this, let me know. We can do another Ask Maggie segment. Or if you want to do an Ask Maggie Lou segment, I'll answer your questions. International Quiet Storm says, ladies, seriously, even the ones that are cloud watching, name another content creator who offers all these courses to help you become better versions of yourself. You're going to make me cry. I love you all so much, and I want you to win. I truly want you to win. I better stop before I get emotional. Erin Laura says, great stream. All right, I'll clip it up for you all. Thank you. And what is today? Thursday. Foodie Fridays is tomorrow. So I'm Maggie, the substitute teacher. I make food and femininity content. We'll be cooking tomorrow on TikTok, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. Thank you, Suave D. Again, you all are so generous. Thank you. All right. See you all tomorrow.